Hey, it's Tani from Unraveled Motherhood, and today let's talk about 5 reasons that people decide not to homeschool, and I'm going to give you 5 solutions to those reasons. I'm a mom of 5. I homeschool my last 4, and I've homeschooled my eldest for 1 year of his schooling career, but that's a little nuanced because we are a blended family. My husband had a baby when he was young, and so we have a teenager. Today I just want to encourage you that you can homeschool. If that's something that you really want to do, you can make it work. The first lie that people believe when they want to homeschool about homeschooling is that you have to be a teacher or you have to be qualified. Now, don't get me wrong, it's great that teachers have qualifications. It's great for the public education system. It makes sure that the people who are in the schools at least pursued schooling in what they're doing. When it comes to your homeschool, you are automatically a teacher. You've been a teacher the whole time. Whether you've known it or not, you've taught your kid to probably eat, sleep, go potty, all those things. You were a teacher. There was no degree involved. There was no formal training. It's on-the-job training. And the same goes with homeschooling. Of course, you can learn a lot from the moms around you. You can learn a lot from the moms online or blogs and reading books and educational books. But you are already a teacher. So don't get in your head about not being qualified, not being good enough. You are a teacher, and your teaching might be different than the person next to you, but you are still an effective teacher. And if you look at your child, you will see you have taught effectively, and you will continue to teach effectively. The second lie that lots of people believe is that your kid will not be socialized. And I don't really care for the word socialized. I think of socialized as being my kids knowing every pop culture reference and every teasing game at school and all those things. I'm kind of glad that my kids don't necessarily know all those things, although they do come to know those things a lot of times from friends and going to the park and all those things. We want our kids to not be socially awkward. And if you're a homeschooling mom, there are ways that your kid could become socially awkward, but those usually have to do with how you decide to socialize. If you want to be a hermit and you're very antisocial, you're very introverted, your kid might become that same way. And maybe you have some weird quirks in your personality, and maybe you don't want that for your kid. Your kid might pick that up, but that happens regardless of where you go to school. I know that you know some public school friends or some private school friends that they're a little quirky, and sometimes when you meet their parents, you're like, oh, now I understand the quirkiness. So don't worry about socialization, but I will say make sure your kids have regular friends. Make sure they have friends that they talk to, that they play with, that they are free to play with, have opportunities to play with without an adult intervening constantly. That's super important. One way you can do this is by making a play group. We've done a couple field trips this year with some friends who are homeschooling and just going to the zoo, parks, botanical garden, beach. We're in Hawaii, so we go to the beach too. But find ways to get that social interaction out and have your kid be able to understand, because there is a reality to people and to humans understanding how to fall in order. That's just how we're created. We're created to follow order. And so naturally when kids play, they figure out where their places in the play group or in the situation. So find ways to socialize. If that means you host a mom's group, which we did for a while my kids were a little bit younger, that's great. You don't have to do formal schooling throughout the whole week. You can spend a day for playing, and oftentimes, especially if your kids are young, they are gonna benefit from having playtime. Give your kids lots of opportunities to be social, lots of opportunities to play with other kids. And you can meet moms at the park and just like start talking to the mom at the park. And a lot of times us moms just want to talk to somebody, especially when we're surrounded by kids all day. So make opportunities for your kids to have social interactions, and also just know, what kind of person are you? Are you awkward in social interactions? The chances are, if you're awkward in social interactions, your kids might pick up on that. But that's not necessarily true all the time. And they don't need to go to a public school or a private school to get rid of that awkwardness. Can I show the camera this? Look how pretty that is. Okay. So give your kids opportunities to have social interactions. That's the main point. If you tend to like be more introverted, then find activities your kids can join. There's lots of free activities. You can create your own events. We're Christians, so we are a part of a church. And I know some Christians think you can't find the right church, but I think it's so important to be a part of a church body. They will never be perfect. There will never be a perfect church for you. And if it's perfect, maybe you're not pressing it enough, or something's amiss. But I encourage you to get in a church community and get involved there, because that's a great place to meet new people. A lot of times churches have homeschooling moms, and sometimes they even have co-ops associated with them, or some sort of version of a co-op. So that's a great way to get the social interaction. And that's a great thing to look up if you're thinking about homeschooling but you don't want to do it all by yourself. Looking up co-ops in your area. If you have Facebook, you can check on Facebook. You probably could Google it. So look for ways to get that social interaction if you tend to be introverted. Are you okay? Okay, the third lie or reason that people decide not to homeschool is because they think they can't give their child enough opportunities. When it comes to opportunities, your child will likely not be able to take every opportunity they get. And actually, when you are out of the school system, there are a lot more opportunities. There are a lot more opportunities you can take for your child. For example, we have some friends who their kids were interested in animals. They like animals. They were able to do like a sort of internship and volunteer at like a pet hospital and get some real experience of what that's like. So when you are homeschooling, there are numerous opportunities because you're not bound to a school system, a schedule, anything like that. You actually get to have so many opportunities. It's like endless opportunities actually. You can make a study of your own. If your kid is interested in a particular subject, you can find ways to get your kid involved with those things. If your kid is interested in farming, you can go visit a farm and volunteer at a farm. If your kid is interested in the ocean, you can go to the ocean, you can go on hikes. There's so many different opportunities you have as a homeschooler, and you are able to do, if music is something that your child cares about, or sports, you're able to do those things with more freedom in your schedule and more time to figure out what schedule works best with the child I'm given. So if my child really enjoys music, but music lessons are in the middle of the day, that's fine. We'll just adjust our school schedule around those days and make it work, because we have the freedom. We're not stuck Monday through Friday, and our kids are not coming home completely wiped after the school day, because we're getting to gauge and see how our kids are doing. We're getting to pace at a level that's comfortable for our kids and comfortable for our lifestyle. The fourth reason why people choose not to homeschool is because they say they want a break. I can understand how it feels to be overwhelmed and feeling like you need some space from your child. I think we all get to that point, and sometimes we're just like banking on the nap time or banking on the bedtime. When it comes to wanting a break from our kids, that's something that we have to address in our own hearts, because we have to recognize that our hearts are not aligned properly, but also we just have to be creative in the way we spend our homeschool day. Now, if we spend our whole homeschool day requiring ourselves to be present for every part of every lesson, we're probably going to burn out. And I think this idea that you need a break comes from thinking that you need to sit with your kid for hours upon hours working on boring worksheets or math or reading for hours, which is not necessarily true. There are so many tools you can use to make your homeschooling more restful and more enjoyable. One of those tools is very accessible to us in the modern age, is audiobooks. Audiobooks, you can get free audiobooks usually through your library. There's free audiobooks on YouTube. There's free audiobooks online on certain websites. And so that's a great tool to use when you just want some time to prepare a meal, to get the dishes done, to do something quietly by yourself. Another thing is just allowing your kid to play and taking your kids to the park or taking your kids out somewhere where you don't have to be constantly monitoring them. Kids really benefit from being outside, so find ways to adjust your schedule so that your homeschooling will feel not like a drag and not like you really absolutely need a break, but like you get to enjoy this time. And if you are finding yourself dragging your feet to read a book, dragging your feet, reassess. Is this because the content that I'm reading with my kids is not good, or is this because I'm overwhelmed with something? Readjust and reassess. And if you need to take a week to work on your house and declutter and get things clean, do that and then start over again. That's the thing with homeschool, is everything in your life continues to go on and you're still trying to take care of the house and the kids, and it sometimes will feel overwhelming. So find ways to create a break for yourself in a way that you can still homeschool. It might mean a quiet time with your kids. It might be giving your kids a hobby they can do quietly. Maybe they can do beads during a quiet hour if they don't take naps anymore. Maybe you can do some of your schooling in the evening if their dad is home and he can read something with them. Find clever ways to make it easier for you so you don't feel overwhelmed. And if you're feeling so overwhelmed by your homeschooling, something's got to give. Maybe it's not the right curriculum, maybe it's not the right book, maybe it's not the right timing, maybe you need to take a few days off. Figure that out. The reality is, it should be a joy. And then the fifth reason that some people decide not to homeschool is because they say they can't afford curriculum. Now, if you are in a season of life where you're just starting homeschooling, so your kid is probably going to be 5 soon or is 5, if your kids are under 6, first of all, you don't need a curriculum. Even if your kids are older than 6, you might not need a curriculum, not a full-blown every subject curriculum. There are tons of resources online that are free to you. The library is such a good way to get resources, books to study, books to read for fun. And if you have a kid under 6, those children are not really at an age where they need formal lessons. They just need someone to talk to, someone who will ask questions, someone who will make them think about good things. And sure, you can introduce some letter sounds, colors, things like that, but there's absolutely no pressure to start doing any formal schooling till they're about 6. Then even when you start formal schooling at age 6, you're going to want to take it slow. They're not really able to sit for long periods of times, and their lessons should be really short. So you don't really need to buy anything. And I know there are plenty of stories of homeschool moms just using the resources they find online and through the library to make their child's curriculum. Children are going to learn. Children want to learn. Oftentimes the reason they don't learn is because of the setting or because of the content. And so our job is just to present the information in a way that piques their interest and to show them how learning is wonderful and fun, and we just get to teach them to love learning, and then from there they take over the rest. Because I don't know if you've experienced this, but I look back at all my years in high school and in college and think, wow, I wish my mindset was different in those times. I was so busy worrying about all these other things that I did not even get to take those opportunities to read good quality books and to do good studies. I wasted all those years and I didn't really appreciate them. I just kind of got through them. And so if we can teach our kids while they're younger to appreciate and to love learning, we're giving them all the tools they need, because when they go into those classrooms and those settings, when they do go to, if they do go to formal schooling, or if they do go to a career or a job that requires them to use those learning skills, they will be equipped and ready to go. So if you're thinking about homeschooling, if you're considering homeschooling for your family, I just want to encourage you that you can do it. I know that there are so many factors that play into homeschooling. It's probably going to be worth it. It's an opportunity to bond with your child, and it's an opportunity to learn together and to really focus in on the important things of life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below if you are a homeschooling parent or if you're considering homeschooling, and I would love to stay in touch. Feel free to email me if you have any questions or just want to chat. Thanks for being here.